Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a paid advertising. TheOnlyGround.com, onlyground.com is one of the most amazing places for information that I consistently go to. If you guys want to have conversations about our old interviews or even topics that we don't discuss, the group of people that are on the onlyground.com message boards are some of the most brilliant that I have ever come across. Those little like knick-knack facts that we get here and there, that's where a lot of it comes from. Please check out the link in the bio.
Welcome to the show. I am MMA insider and Herb Dean's dog sitter, Joey Venti, and you're listening to the MMA History Podcast, the only podcast dedicated 100% to the preservation of mixed martial arts history. Interviews and stories about the early days of MMA direct from the men who lived it. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of hours of research, all conducted by the most obsessed mind in the business, the MMA detective Mike Davis. Join us as we document the history of the sport we all love.
Ladies and gentlemen, a historic first for our podcast. We have got a member from one of the most gangster families ever in the sport, or ever within combat sports. We got Ralph Gracie, and joining us also is one of his lifelong students and somebody who I admire. We got Gumby. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
I'm going to put my glass so I can see you guys better. Look where I am right now.
So, Health.
Talk to me.
Okay, so tell us what you're up to nowadays. What is going on in the life of Ralph Gracie?
Oh man, main thing is be happy, bro. That's what I'm up today. I moved back to Brazil. Brought my family over there. Now I can come and visit, some gyms. I like to go visit Gumby's gym and hang out a little bit. That's what I do nowadays. My goal is to be happy, to do the things that I like. Hang out in Brazil. Brazil is always fun. A little bit different than here. Here every day is almost the same. In Brazil, it's like each day is a different day. Each day has something happening. That's what I like to be there. I like to be here. Here's more like I like my friends. What becomes my family at the same time. That's what I'm up to.
That's good. Gumby, what about yourself?
I'm still here in California, living the dream. Every day is different for me. I'm running my gyms. The journey I started pretty much 30 years ago when I walked into a house studio. So just the continuation of that.
So were you one of his first students, Gumby?
Yeah, I want to say he opened up in August of 96.
When I opened Mountain View, right, Gumby? You came
in Mountain View. Yeah, I was there maybe a month or two after he opened up.
5, 9, 6, or I remember.
Yeah. At this point, long enough ago that the exact year doesn't even matter at this point. That's how long we've known each other. We were 22 and 24 years old, like babies.
One thing that I like the most, when the motherfucker gets drunk, he calls me. 5 o'clock in the morning. And somebody died. Then I say, Gumby, hey, I love you. Bye.
That's good. You guys got a good, healthy relationship then. So, Health, UFC 1 takes place in November of 1993. Did you have any idea at this point that your family was going to be propelled into international fame?
My brother, for sure I knew that. I know jiu-jitsu is amazing martial arts, right? And we knew that since the beginning, right? Right now it's going to be 100 years of the Gracie family doing the same thing. 100 years, right? And especially these past 30 years, it blew, right? But it wasn't a point in a time in Brazil which it blew it too. Around the 70s, 80s, 70s, a little bit even before, my family was already the Brazil was already dominated by us. And it was just a matter of time to go to the United States. And in the United States, most people copy what's happening here. So that's what happened. As soon as we came here, it blew all over the world. but we're just like a bomb ready to go. We knew it was going to be this way. There was no other way around. We beat everybody. The truth is, our martial arts, jiu-jitsu, it is a superior martial arts to any other martial arts. That's why it is adopted by everybody. If you don't know jiu-jitsu, you cannot fight.
No.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
So like it became what it is because it is a powerful martial arts, which everyone had to adopt it. So that was simple.
So when it was establishing itself in Brazil, there was pushback with the Luta Livre guys. What is your recollection of that? The pushback with the Luta Livre, the feud with Luta Livre. What is your recollection of that time?
See, the Luta Livre was just a stepping stone so we can prove ourselves better. Luta Livre was the main idea. It was like, hey, with some guys, they learn jiu-jitsu and say, hey, let's take the gi off and let's start fighting, training. But if you really look at Luta Livre, it's the same as jiu-jitsu with no gi. And like, we were never pushed back. Actually, this was the opposite. You know, at least we had some challenging. We had people that challenged us and saying there was a different martial arts. But actually, it was a jiu-jitsu. If you look Luta Livre, what it is.
Yes,
it
no
is
gi.
no gi today. It is what we do. But the difference is we are in gis.
What about the clash between the two?
The clash will start with like my older brother, Charles.
Okay.
Charles got his ass whooped by some guy, and the guy said, "Hey, we're doing this." I think it was more than one guy. We're doing this because you're the Gracie. We are Gracie. And since they said that they were Gracie, my uncle said, "Oh, it was not because of my brother, my half brother. It was because he said." You got this because you're Gracie. Since it said that Gracie, then he kind of put everybody in the mix. That's why the family went, invaded the academy, whooped their asses, and it is until what now today. But nowadays we prove ourselves.
Yeah.
If you really look, you don't have to prove it. We do it because we like it. If I fight, it's because I like to fight. If my brother fights, it's because he likes to fight. Because we already did everything that we have to do. We established ourselves. We established the martial arts. We established the jiu-jitsu. There is no doubt in nobody's mind. Whoever has doubts, they're stupid. You know?
Your first fight on record is Desafio Gracie Vale Tudo, Geraldo Silva. So you were doing this. Your first fight on record.
My first fight, I was 17 years old.
That's what I was going to ask.
My first professional fight. When you saw me fight that guy, I was 17 years old.
Geraldo Silva.
Yes.
So you grew up in a family, just so people can kind of understand. You grew up in a family where it's a rite of passage to be a man. You need to get into a fist fight.
No, I don't need to do shit. we were never like, hey, you gotta fight. No, we fight because we choose to fight. All the fights that I have was because I want to fight. It was a pride for me. I like to hurting people. That's why I was doing what I like to do. You know, it becomes natural for me. You know, like I grew up fighting. I grew up fighting my brothers. I grew up fighting the streets. Why not fight professional? If I can make money, why not? Even better.
So Gumby, Ralph's reputation, like his reputation, like it was very large, especially when it came to handling business. So he comes into town. It's 1996. What were your like understandings of walking in that door? Did you have any like concept of who Ralph was at the time, or did you just see the name on the door?
Well, it was on my way to work. I saw the studio there. I saw Gracie, and I'm like, okay. And I knew who Ralph was because Extreme Fighting Championships.
Oh yeah.
He had the fights there in that promotion back in 95, 96. So like I had seen those fights before and I saw what he was doing. Yeah, and I walked in. I remember like back in those days, all white belts, maybe 2 or 3 blue belts on the mat. We were doing the warm-ups. Half wasn't there yet at that point. And then I remember him walking in the door and it's like, oh, that's the guy right there. He's so intimidating on TV, but he's the
Oh, yeah.
nicest guy when you meet him. And it's just a great
People
time.
see
And then
me
when I got
because I'm
to
ugly. I'm ugly. And people confuse my ugliness with meanness. I'm actually ugly, but I'm actually nice. I'm good-hearted.
No,
So
yeah, no, like, it's not until like you get to know it's like, oh yeah, this guy can fight. But yeah, if you didn't know, like, if you hadn't seen the fights before, if you didn't know any of the stuff, or if you didn't know about the Gracie history at that point, because at that point you wouldn't have. It's like you walked in, it's like, oh, like, super nice guy when he introduced himself to me, like, going through hard training, like, don't get me wrong, like it was tough back in the day, but yeah, like, what I saw on TV was different than the man that I met when he first walked in. And again, we were kids back then. Like I was 22, I think you were 24 at that time, Half. Yeah. So like, yeah, it wasn't a thing like, oh, we're gonna go out and fight or anything like that at that point. It's just this is what we do. But it was hard back in the day. Like
I
Half
try to be
ran.
a good example. That's because you're just doing martial arts. See that people think it's because you do martial arts, because you're a fighter, everything has to be fight. But what is a warrior without love? What is a warrior without a purpose? See, like if you just put a guy and he's just tough and becomes more tough, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to become somebody that you trust, and give you my energy, give you my love, show my spirit. And this was more important for me. I don't have students. I have kids. Especially back then, when I embrace everybody and try to introduce my way of life, which is honorable, which is like is a loyalty, is friendship above everything, is a love above everything. Is like the bond that we created. I never took a guy out of my gym because he has no money. I took him out because he was an asshole, maybe because he was like hurting some students or doing this, but never because he has no money. See, in these, I'm proud to say that because a lot of people that came in back then, my gym half pay, half didn't pay because the love for them. And this is what I try to pass. I don't like to just be the instructor. I like to be the role model. I like to show them, hey, look how walks with his head high. How has principles. How has, like, if he's got to do something, he's going to do it. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter what the consequences are. And that's me. And I'm capable to do this for my students, to do this for the people that I love, to the people that are on my side.
So we had Draculino on, and Draculino started with Pitoko, who's one of Henzo's really good friends at the time, and he said, but because he was
we grew up with Pitoko, yeah,
and Draculino said he switched over with Gracie Baja was because of yourself being his neighbor.
Yeah, brother. A lot of Gordo, Draculino, Gordinho, those guys were always was guys from our backyard. As soon as and the thing is it better be with us than be against us. And that's what happened back then. We were kids. We were kids from the streets. I grew up on the streets. I grew up on. My mom used to know me like I disappeared for 3 months. She heard where I was. And like we're street kids. We were kids that grew up the tough neighborhood, tough places. Like the people from the ghetto come to our beach, we would beat the crap out of them because they did not respect us. So we grew up differently. We grew up in the environment was more hostile environment, but these would make us tough, make us stronger. Don't even say tougher, make us stronger. Create a stronger bond between brothers, between cousins. We protect each other. We defend each other. So these definitely make us who we are today. Especially me, my brother Henzo, my brother Ryan. We grew up on that. We were the leaders of our group. So we have to do things by example. We do things so people can see it. We cannot be afraid. I will not show my fear. I will not show my fear. You can look into my eyes, you won't be able to see them. So this, I passed to my friends. Showed the example to them.
Okay,
and this was growing up.
Okay, so growing up, Draculino in our interview mentioned a story. Health gets into a fight on the beach with two guys and has to swim into the ocean to get away from the gunfire.
There was actually my younger brother, Hein.
That was your.
That's true. He beats this guy, and the guy actually starts shooting. He got hit on the leg, on the calf. Yeah. But
he came up to the academy. I remember Ryan telling that story, and he's laughing. I was like, "Yeah, I'm swimming, and the bullets are zing, zing, zing."
And the first, actually, when he thought it was a friend, the guy put the gun on him. So this guy's joking. But when he shot him, the first bullet did not work. The guy kind of got stuck, and he noticed it was real because the guy was really nervous, trying to recock his gun. And then when he recocked it, the guy looked at him, and then he started running. Then the bullets stopped flying. But it is what it is.
Wander Braga also said, because with Ryan, like this, I know you guys from the TV. I see Ryan on TV, and I'm like, oh man, this is a guy you just should not mess with. Wander Braga says, no. Ryan is the more reasonable of the two in a street fight. Health is the one you need to be concerned about.
That is true. See, the thing I was always kind of married. Since I was 17 years old, I always have a girlfriend in my house. I was not the going out guy. I did not drink. I did not smoke. So for me, going to the nightclubs was not something that could fall for them. An interview was not something that makes me happier. I was like, fuck. I didn't like to go out. My thing was training. I like to train. I like to train. I like to fight, and that was my thing. And I forgot what I was saying about it.
They said, Wander Braga said that you were the more reasonable of the two, between you and Ryan.
Because I was the guy ready
Ryan was more
to do whatever is necessary to finish the fucking thing. If I'm getting a fight, or we're doing a group fight, I am the guy. There's no consequences on my head. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to finish the trouble. So that's my thing. I was not the guy who was being flirting. Oh, I'm going to fight. I'm going to do that. I'm in there to finish the job. So since I was called to a job, might as well finish the job. So if I'm in a fight, it doesn't matter what happened. We're going to fucking finish this fight. It is what it is. So that's what people say. Oh, watch for how. Because I don't come out if it is serious. If he's playing around, I let the other guys go. If he's serious, you call me, we're going to do whatever we got to do. So that's what they're talking about. Hey, I was definitely the more explosive. The guys like, whoa, you're going to see all this. I was quiet. But if I step in, let's finish the shit. You know, it is what it is.
Oh.
And Braga is awesome, man. One of the best trains I did was with Wanda Braga. Really good guy to train.
He said that when you guys were children, him and Hyen were making noises by the pool. You asked them several times to be quiet. They did not oblige, and the dog made them jump in the pool in order to get away from it. That's what he was talking about.
I have this dog. What's true?
It's good. Extreme Fighting 1 was the first time, like, we as Americans kind of saw the depth of the Gracie family, like, and the brothers. How did you connect with John Perretti?
What?
How did you connect with matchmaker John Perretti?
Man, at the time, I was like, John Perretti came to the academy. It was my first academy was in Pleasant Hill. He came to the academy. It was a battle cage. Was going to have to happen. Then I met John Perretti. Then he brought him to the show. He like I forgot I forgot the matchmaker. No, he was the matchmaker. I forgot
he was a matchmaker. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the guy which owns the company. I forgot.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Then he
was the matchmaker, and it was Bob Guccione Jr., the Penthouse magazine publisher, that was the main money guy behind everything. So Perretti was the actual guy that did the work, but it was Guccione Jr. I remember they did the photo shoot at the Academy one day, and the interviews and stuff. So
that's true. I like John Perretti. John Perretti was a cool guy. I like him. You know,
Did you guys roll together?
No, we did like some like video shoot, but we never really roll. No. Okay. We did some like video shooting, some photos and some stuff like that, but never really rolling.
Okay. So we've been told that Holes Gracie, previous to his passing, was like the family all-star.
Yes, he was one. Yes.
Could you expand on your memories of him?
Yes, I do. Like we used to live in front of each other. We used to be like we live in this apartment, which two apartments per floor, and actually my door was right in front of his door. So we live I grew up with Rolf. Every time he's go hang gliding, he always take me. We go hang gliding together. I did not hang glide, but I would take him all the way up to the mountain. We walk around. We prepare his he's what's it called? His hang glider. We prepare. We put it together. Then he flies. We go down, pick him up, maybe bring him again. So me and him, we were really, really, really connected. You know, we're good friends. And he always liked me a lot. So from the brothers, I was the one that always go and pick it up and take me to places. And he was definitely an awesome guy. He was definitely a guy that bring the team together. You know, he was definitely a guy that he brought the whole family together. And he whooped Hickson, he whooped Hodin. He was the guy, especially back then. You know, and that was a great loss for the family for sure.
Wow.
That's why until nowadays, we remember him with really good care. You know, really like heart feeling. Every time that we spoke his name, definitely bring memories to the life.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Yeah, it's good. It's good to keep his memory alive. That's why I asked.
And I was like, what, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know exactly when, around 10 years old or something like that. You know, it's been a while already. It's been over 40 years. I don't know for sure what the time, but yeah.
When was the last time you watched your first fight at Extreme Fighting?
Well, what?
When was the last time you saw your fight with Mikado in Extreme Fighting Battle Kid?
Oh, it's been a little while. But once in a while, people come, hey, I saw this year that, I did not fight many. I was not a guy that fight all the time because I was more focusing back then there was not much money in fighting compared to what it is today. You know, like then my gym was making so much money, there was not a good reason to fight besides like fighting. Like one time, Dana White called me and said, "Hey, Ralph, I want you to fight for me." They said, "Okay, then how much you pay?" "I pay you 20 grand. I said, "Bro, for 20 grand, I don't leave my house because I make way more than that on my gym." So like when I'm going to fight, it takes me at least 4 months to get ready. Back then, it was like 3 months, 4 months. It was a perfect timing for me to get ready. So it took me so much out of me, the money did not worth it. Maybe the fame would have worth it, but the money wise, if I would have broke like 4 months in 20 grand, that's $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
I was making like 30, 40 grand a month on my gym.
Yeah. And you'd have to ignore that.
So
You'd
there
have
was
to,
not a good reason to me to fight besides prove myself. So that was the reason I did not go to UFC. Because when then and they say, "Yeah, say who are you fighting?" "I'm fighting this guy." "Yeah, this guy fought Carauno and lost. Carauno is fighting for me." "Yeah, but in Pride they pay me like 75,000. You offer me 20.
Yeah,
75 was something that was doable for me. But since like UFC thought they have more name, they have more pull, the money were super low. That was the reason why I never fought UFC.
yeah, Gumby, I think you can attest at this time, like you had mentioned, in terms of belt rankings, health taking time away from the gym, they didn't have like adequate staff to kind of take classes at that point in time.
Well, at that point, I don't think there was any. This is pre the black belts. We had a couple of brown belts, so there was two schools. He did have people helping, but like, when Half trained back in those days, he trained hard. Like, uh, um, so like I know how much work he put into each of those. Like I know even in comparison to other people, like I'm really good friends with like because I've trained a lot at Henzo's Academy and I've been around and stuff like that. If Half is gonna do something, he's gonna do it. Like if
All
he's
in.
gonna say something, he says it.
Man,
Yeah, like
when I was fighting in Pride, I did like 5 rounds of 10 minutes rounds with fresh people.
The Shark
5
Tank.
rounds of 10 minutes straight. One minute and a half resting. Okay, there was Pride rules. 1 minute resting, 10 minutes with a fresh guy. And it was not like a little like war. Worse than the fights. War. Hitting each other, punching each other, kicking each other. If you get cut, fuck it. I don't give a shit. It is what it is. And the thing is, 50 minutes straight. No bullshitting. And man, to do this, that sucks. The prelim, like to train to be able to do that, it's horrible. And that's why one of the reasons I did not go as many times, because man, 3 months, then it would have been nice to be straight, but then there was always a change in like different fight 3 months later. And that was the problem, because I was making a lot of money in my gyms.
All right, so you tie in with Extreme Fighting and Battlecade. And Junior was also on the card. Mario Sperry was on the card. But it seemed like Rickson and Royce didn't like that you guys were fighting in that organization. Was there a bit of conflict there?
Nah, I don't think there was no conflict. If someone said something like that, they're lying to you. There was no problem. Like Rickson has no problem with me fighting. Royce has no problem. Royce was well established as a UFC champion. There was no, like whoever was saying, like whoever was saying
right.
this,
It was Black Belt Magazine. I think Royce was kind of doing this.
Maybe it was doing it for some other reason. Maybe it was a new company was trying to talk shit about UFC. I don't really know.
Okay.
But the truth is, there was no problem with them.
Okay. Extreme Fighting 2, you're in Quebec, Canada, against Steve Nelson.
Everybody got arrested.
That's correct.
Except for you and Nino, right?
Why? No, because Nino, there was no reason. Nino would just fuck with him and say, hey, Nino, they were looking for you. No one was looking for Nino, was looking for me. Then, but man, I'm Brazilian. We don't get arrested that day easy. You know, like,
I'm with you on that.
What?
I'm with you. Like,
Why?
if you get arrested, you should have ran. I mean,
right? If they're looking for you, what happened was this. With this guy from Conan, man, super nice guys, but they all smoke weed. You know, they always smoke, and they did not smoke weed. You know, and they always call me, hey, how? They call me and say, hey, let's go smoke some weed. I say, bro, I told you I don't fucking smoke some weed. You know, thank you. You know, I'm super polite, thank you, you know, but I don't smoke. And they call me again, hey, let's go smoke some weed. I say, fuck you. I told you I don't smoke some weed different days. And this motherfucker called me like 8 o'clock in the morning, like 8 to 9. Say how? I said, bro, motherfucker, I told you don't smoke some weed. It was early as fuck. Say, no, how? They arrest Marques Perry. They arrest this other guy. I said, what? Say, yeah, they arrest. Come to my room, because they're going to your room next. Then I said, fuck, I wasn't remember. It was like in my underwears. Like, my wife was laying down. I said, man, I gotta go. Where are you going? So I have to go. Arresting everybody. Then I took off to my friend's room, and I stayed there. They came to my room, did not find me. Then I stayed 3 days at the hotel. They were looking for me at the hotel, but I was in somebody else's room and did not know. And I stayed 3 days watching TV, eating well when the guys were in jail. Because this was on a Friday. And Monday would be the court. Those motherfuckers were like, get them in Friday. So Monday, like, they stay at least 3 days in jail.
oh,
Then I stayed at the hotel, eating well. And man, Battle Cage was a really good company, man. I did really like the people that working there. They were like, take good care of us. Was actually a good place to be. You know, I have no complaints about them. You know, yeah, that was the story of Canada.
yeah, I can't imagine wanting to spend a weekend in the holding cell. That would suck.
And Marques Perry, what is him? The guy that we talk about like right now,
Perretti.
John Perretti. He turned himself in to be with the guys.
He flew back. To turn himself in.
Yeah, he flew back. So like, hey, at least I'm arrested with you guys. There's no problem. You know, I'm here too, and I stay at the hotel. Then on the Monday, I present myself. Then we all like it was like a $800 fine, and back to the United States.
So you knocked out Steve Nelson in 44 seconds, but that was a fight. It didn't sit well with him. He was always chasing you again after that until the rematch.
That's true. He got pissed off. It was really fast. And then there was another fight. And we fought again, like, I don't know how many years later. And on the rules that he put it, on the first minute, I got him in a real naked choke. He grabbed the rope. And the rules, like, when he grabbed the rope, stand up again. So at the first minute, I got him in the neck. I grabbed him. And was about to choke him out. They grabbed the rope.
A rope escape.
Then they did the rope escape.
Like it was pancration rules, right?
Yeah.
Like
and
no closed fists either. You had to do open palms.
Yes.
So I remember like you hit the guy so hard when he fell down, they thought you hit him with a closed fist. So they were like looking at you. And it's like, nah, like, you know, it was this, not this. House just hits that hard.
And then I got tired really fast. It was in 3 minutes. I got dehydrated too. I dehydrated too much, which I was not intent to dehydrate that much. And man, in 3 minutes, I was that tired. I never felt so tired in my whole life. Like, I couldn't fucking move at all. At all. But when I say at all, bro, like, I never been that tired in my entire life. I never felt that feeling. And for 10 minutes, I was getting my ass whooped. And the thing is, one thing that I like about that fight, show my will. Don't give up. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if you get hit, if you're getting fucked up. Your mind has to be in your head has to be in your shoulders and know what is your limits. And I did not find my limit yet, and that was exactly what it is. And for myself, even that was not my best fight. For me, it was the fight that took me the most. Not because the guy was a great guy, but because I was so tired, I couldn't do nothing. And he put like a bunch of Vaseline. I remember back in the day, you do the pen spray, and you're all dry, but as soon as you sweat, you always like kind of slipping it off.
Yeah.
And I got in a great armbar in the end. It was like I remember this. Like, there's one point in time I look around and I see everything in slow motion. I'm grabbing him. I'm looking to the side. I see the girls screaming, "Go, Gracie!" I see the guy on the other side, "Go, Steve Nelson, go, Nelson." They're not, "Fuck you for talking to bad words." I can see everything. And at the same time, I hear the announcer say, 13 minutes. Then I was like fucking tired as fuck, as tired as can be, like really serious. Like I never felt that way. At that moment, I grab him like this, I hold it, I look around. When they say 13 minutes, I talk to God. And this is serious. I'm not fucking bullshitting you. It's like I grab him like this and I talk to God. Say, "God, if that's the way you want it, that's okay. I'll take a loss. But if it's not, the time is now." When I say, well, if the time is now, on that second, I broke the guy's arm. I never told this in no interview. On that second, when I talked to God, I was grabbing, and he's like, that's exactly my words to him. "God, if it's this the way you want it, I'll accept it. But if it's not, the time is now."
Wow.
And right there, right then, I broke his arm.
So Gumby, at this event, it was the United Shoot Wrestling Federation. This was the largest attended mixed martial art event in the entire country up until this point. You obviously were there. Do you remember the crowd?
I didn't make it for whatever reason. I remember going through the training and stuff like that, but I can't remember why
I think it was Dave Camarillo, Big Dave,
Big
Kurt,
Dave.
right?
Yeah,
Cameron.
yeah. Like, they all told me that. Like, I was calling,
Like,
I was on the phone with them when it was going on.
It's like 15,000 people in attendance.
Yeah, that was his show,
It
his thing. It was a big deal out there. I mean, like, he would send like video packages to Halp on the monthly every time, like, come fight me. He had all the challenges and stuff like that. This was a huge deal. I mean, like, yeah. So,
well, if you look at Halp's body of work also up until this time, like, you're 17 years old against Gerardo Silva, under 30 seconds rear naked choke. Your Mikado, 40-second rear naked choke. Steve Nelson, 40 seconds. Like El Matumbi, armbar, minute 36. And now you're with Steve Nelson again. You break the 13-minute mark. Like, that is not easy.
No, it's not. Definitely not. Especially because I'm used to fuck them up really fast. That's my game is like I go to finish. I don't want to lose. I don't want to win by points. I want no fucking judge decision. I don't give a fuck for the judges. The whole thing is, I want to whoop your ass so badly there's no judge who's gonna tell you otherwise. And that's that's always been this. Second place, I always throw my medals away. The second place is the first one to lose.
To lose, yeah.
That's not me. My goal is the win, is the finish. I don't win by points. I win by submissions. That's us. That's my team. That's how we play. That's how I grew up my boys. Ask Gumby how it was. Gumby passed some
Yeah.
nightmares at the gym. He knows what it is. And he knows the way I go. If you tap as my watch, you're gonna get your ass whooped by me. That's why the guys were like tough. It was not because they were tough, because I was making them tough. I was like, hey, what you prefer? You get whooped by that guy or get whooped by me? Oh shit! And then like Dave Camarillo, when he was gonna fight, he wasn't gonna fight. He was chicken out. Like, I'm not going. Bro, you going? Said, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. You choose. Or you whip him, or I'm gonna whoop your ass. You choose who you're gonna get whooped by. Say, fuck, I'm gonna fight. So that was the game. That was it. If you fly by my flag, you run with my boys. You run my rule. You run the way I grew up. See, nowadays I'm super light. I'm super nice, but I came with a purpose. I came with a purpose to make my name better, to make my students tough as can be. And if I have to go play nasty with my boys, that was the way I play. They all respect me, they all love me, but they all fear me at the same time. Because I was fearful. They were fearful.
Gumby, you two have clashed a few times. I heard that there was an incident with a car in an alley in Health with you driving.
Oh no, that wasn't me. That was Scotty.
Oh, that was Scotty. Okay.
Yeah, like there's that one. That wasn't me. So no,
well,
like
Gumby, explain to them how it works, Gumby. You tell better stories than I do.
It was just one of those days where it's like well, like back in the days, it's like, yeah, Hal's right. Like we were more scared of him than anything that was ever in front of us. So, when you charge out into battle, it's like you always looked ahead because you definitely weren't looking behind you on anything. And that kind of, aside from tournaments, that was life. Like, you didn't really have a fear of anything that was going on. It's like, there's nothing that you could put me through. To this day, I tell my students, it's like, you think I have heavy side control pressure? It's like, you can't make me scared of side control because I'm underneath House. Like, we're essentially the same size. I still can't explain. I felt guys 300 pounds that don't feel as heavy on top of me as House does. And he's explained it. He's done it and all that. And I still don't know why it's so awful to be underneath him. But I'll tell you what, it's like, there's nothing you can do to me that scares me at this point. It's like, I've been through all of this. I've been through the worst, and I'm only going to move forward on this. And I think all of us were like that back in the day. So, what was the question again? Or like, what is that?
Well, I mean, on TV, Health is 1,000 miles an hour. He's got his foot on the gas pedal, and there's no brake. It's all gas, no brakes. That carries over into training. Is that what
yeah, it was like, well, like, it was us. So, like, you walked in and you got to understand there was like 3 schools in Northern California. Like, how many schools in the world? Like, I didn't realize what a privilege it was. Like, I'm starting in 96. I'm just, hey, like, I want to train jiu-jitsu, and Ralph Gracie's down the street from me, versus how many people had to like only learn from videotapes, or how many people like had to travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles to go to their gym. It's like, Half was literally down the street from me. And like, and not only is he down the street, you don't miss practice. Like, we all live in the same place. If we miss practice, Half would show up to our house and make sure that we didn't miss practice. Like, no, like one time, like, yeah, here's my, yeah, no, like the one time I missed a Saturday practice, it's like,
wake up.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, no, he showed up to my house. Like one time I was like, I went out on a Friday night, And it was just one of those nights I stayed out way too late, had way too much to drink, had way too much and this is back in the days, there's answering machines. And like I wake up and like I know it's time for practice. The answering machine's going, motherfucker, where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are you? I'm gonna kill you. And so, like that. So I'm just like, dude, I can't do it today. Like I just roll over. It's like I'll deal with my punishment on Monday. I look back up, I wake up again. Half is in my room, like standing over my bed, like, motherfucker, I told you get out. Like, pins me down in the bed, wails on me a bit, throws me in his truck. It's the only time I've ever barfed in a practice from everything that he did. But I made it through that practice, and I never missed a practice again ever. I would never even think about going out late the night before a practice. Like Friday nights are sake. Saturday mornings I had to wait.
See, they were my kids.
So
and the thing is, I have to show them how it's played. I have to show them where the courage is. I had known that, and that was the way. Like I see. I wish I had the same teacher that I was, which care about me more than a lot of times care for part of my family. You know, and that's how I train my guys. They were my guys. They were like part of my family, part of my kids. You know, even that a lot of them they went away, different type of life. But when they were in there, they were my responsibility. They were my guys.
You know, like, and I don't want to
give them. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I don't want to say it's like, you know, and it's true. It's like I'm gonna look in front of me because I didn't want to get my ass whooped by Half. But it was more than that. Like, you know, we were proud to fly that flag. You know, like, you know, there was a huge love. Like, we were super proud because we knew that not everybody could do what we did. Not everybody can go through what we did. If you came in that door, you know, there weren't that many schools out there. So, like, like as far as a student, like we trained hard with each other and we really bonded in that sense. Like these guys are like my brothers to this day.
That was fun,
30 years after the fact. Yeah, it was like I look back with a lot of fondness. Like, you know, you don't like I don't think that you could run a gym like that anymore. But you know, like we were there together, like we were gonna fight, like we were gonna represent that flag. Like you're gonna know where we came from and who we were. And we're gonna fight super hard, like to the man to through everything on that. And like I said,
yeah. So, Health, you talked in the beginning. You said that some of your students paid, some did not pay, and like you could assess talent. Cameron Earle was one of your early students.
Yes.
Was he? Yeah. One of like true tragedies of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Incredibly talented guy.
Yeah, he was like this. He was super athletic, super tough, as tough as can be. But at the same time, he was like he likes to show to me. See, our bond was super strong. You know, like me and him, especially like he goes train like with Dave. He goes train with the different kids. He got his ass whooped all the time. As soon as I walk into the gym, he'll change it. As soon as I walk into the door and he hear my voice, he completely changed his training. He goes and whoops everybody, kills everybody. Because it was like my presence will affect him. Will show him, like, give him extra courage, give me extra power. And that's what people say, man, well, Cameron, when you're not here, I go and I train with him. It's kind of easy. But as soon as you show up, he becomes a different guy. It's funny. Because as soon as you step into the door, he got to prove to you that he's the guy. He whoops everybody. And that's the influence that I had it. That's the influence that I have with most of my guys. When I walk in, they feel the respect. They feel, holy shit, the master is here. I gotta show to him my capabilities to do the things that he showed me. And these are like, for me, was one of the most important things. The bond with my kids, the friendship, the love. It was not about just the jiu-jitsu, the positions. It was about respect. It was about honor. And it can be whoever it is, doesn't matter what he's done. But for me, it was always great.
Allan, what was your experience with Cameron like?
Oh, he got a lot of Cameron. They were living together and everything.
Yeah.
Well, like, initially, like I always tell the story, like, Cameron lived on Silver Creek, so south and east of San Jose. Like, so it took him 40 minutes to take a bus there. So Cameron was like, okay, like I want to get more, I don't want to miss class. So he found a cardboard box to sleep in, so he could wake up and be the first one in practice. And then when Hal found that out, you gave him a key, so he was sleeping in the place for a month. And then when I got an apartment like a couple of blocks away from the gym, Cameron started breaking into my place and sleeping in my living room. So I'm like, all right, cheaper than having an alarm system, I guess. So,
And that was a tough alarm system.
yeah, like nobody was coming into my house when Cameron was in the front. Like,
Yeah, I went
so
2-1 against Marcelo Garcia.
yeah. He's infamous to this day in San Jose because we used to do security a lot. You don't mess around in a place that Cameron was working at. Like they just knew, they was like, is that guy with the fucked up ears that chokes out everybody unconscious working? I'm gonna go someplace else. Like, I know you can't cause trouble when he's around.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, one of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's greatest mysteries in regards to like what his ceiling was going to be.
He beat Garcia twice.
Twice, 2-1.
Oh, he's good shit.
Yeah, he had a list of who's back in the days. Like, he was one of the top American dogs, I think. And I had on the mat, I saw the talent, and like, I have my biases, but I can honestly assess that he could have been one of the greats.
Yeah, he's true.
But but that fighting spirit, like, or that fight, like that kind of instinct, like, also kind of led him down some dark paths too, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that's willing to sleep outside, like.
Dude, how are you going to beat a guy that's going to sleep outside to get better at jiu-jitsu? It's like you that was always one of the things, like, we were angrier in Northern California. We'd go down to Southern California. It's like the sun is shining, the girls are pretty, you can go to the beach. All we did was train. Like, I didn't want to do anything else back then. It's like, how are you going to beat a guy that has that type of passion for it? And that's one of the things I learned. It's like you might be more technical or something like that. Sometimes, he said that was like, remember Brandon Dennington, one of Hal's early students, who was like a really high level wrestler. It was actually roommates with Randy Couture in Oklahoma. And he
I saw
actually
him the other day.
You did? How's he doing?
Yeah, I call him. Say, what you want? Say, motherfucker. I just say, want to say, how you doing? Say, how I love you. How are you? Say, really? Man, they like, wow, I'm so happy that you called. I don't want nothing from you, man. I just want to get your love. How are you? Then we were hanging out. That was fun. It's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I talk about that guy all the time. He's like, just sometimes you have to hate your opponent more than he hates you. Like, I remember that line that he had.
That's true.
Health, were you at
I like Brendan.
Health, were you at the Pentagon combat riot between Tudao and Renzo?
What you want?
Renzo versus Eugenio Tudao?
I wasn't there.
Not there.
No, I did not go. That was a good fight. That was a good.
Yeah.
Man, that's Hein was there. Hein was like a soldier there. I was like, was a big event. Was a good one. I like those styles too.
You were in the corner of Carlson Gracie versus Kiminioku. You were in his corner for the pancreas.
Yes. That was a good fight.
Did you like Japan?
I what?
Did you like your experiences in Japan?
I like my experience in Japan. Japan's like the good country. The country of the samurais. People are definitely like respectful. People are definitely like I used to go to the problems, and they're not victims. Like if it did, like when the tsunami happened over there, if this was in America, people beat the guns, people were trying to steal people's food, which is why there was like everyone was a line, everyone was not stealing from nobody, everyone was very respectful. who had food, put food outside so the other ones can eat. And we gotta learn with the things that happen. And this is one thing that I learned when this tsunami happened in Japan, to show how the Japanese are strong. It doesn't matter how the chaos is, you cannot abandon your principles. And they show that really well, and that's why I like the Japanese. I like the culture, I like the honor. They have a lot of honor on their lives. And I think we as Gracies, we kind of identify a lot with the Japanese culture, with the honor, the spirit, believe that that's why I say you got to be a warrior with love. You cannot just be a mean person. And what it is, a fighter, if you don't fight for something that you believe. What if you be a warrior if you fight for something that's not important? See, what I like about the samurais was they're all honorable. They all believe. They like the flowers. Why they like the flowers? They have to like the beauty. They have to like the innocent. They fight for the innocent. They fight for who cannot protect themselves. And the Gracies are the same. We Gracies are the same. We fight for it, for other people. We fight for something that we really believe. Like, as one point, even at the movie that showed one point, if the empire wants me dead, only thing it has to do is ask me to die. And that's honorable.
For sure. For sure. So Hal, there's a story that you were at McDonald's. A guy tries to start a fight with you. I can't imagine that person being in the right. And Batista beat the guy up.
Who?
Batista, the pro wrestler?
Yes.
Is that true?
That's true. That's true. I don't want to fight someone in McDonald's.
I can't imagine. Gumby, could you imagine going to McDonald's? You got Batista, who's a monster, and Health, and then you feel a need to pick a fight? I mean, were there people coming into the gym with challenges while you were there?
It was many
people
times
are crazy.
Happened.
Yeah, we've had a few of those.
Some people have no notion. I'm ugly as fuck. You should not fight me. Should fight the handsome guys like Gumby.
Did you roll with Frank Shamrock at your gym at all?
What?
Frank Shamrock, did you guys ever have a session at your gym?
We trained once. That was like a long time ago. Yeah.
How was his skill level?
He's tough. He's a tough guy. Strong as fuck. I think I use a lot of their strengths. But he's a tough guy. All those, the truth is, he's a grappler. He's a fighter. There's no dummy, especially nowadays. And he was definitely not a dummy back then either. He trained with BJ. BJ kind of screwed him over a little bit too.
You talking about BJ Penn?
Yeah, because at the time, was me, BJ, was more guys.
Regan Penn.
Yeah. Was a bunch of us.
Yeah, I remember I was training that morning, and then Frank pulled up in his Corvette and was like, "Hey, it's Half here, we train." And it was just a few of us in the academy. We were just getting a morning session. He's like, "I'll be back later on." So then we called up Half. Was like, "Hey, Frank is coming in. He wants to train with you." And Frank at the time was supposed to fight Allan Gumby, I think.
Yeah.
So it was going to be his first time going with a jiu-jitsu person, and he couldn't find anybody to want to train. Hal's like, "Yeah, whatever, come over and train." Yeah, and I remember he rolled with BJ first, and he's all kind of whatever, he just, because BJ was a white belt at that point, and then BJ caught him in a triangle, which Frank got out of. But at that point, you can see Frank tried to turn on BJ, and still can still moving around, and BJ defended himself well, and then the main event came, and then Half and Frank rolled, but it was an impressive roll, but I don't think. And Half, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, that it looked more like a training session than a fight in that particular
Yeah,
case.
yeah,
Like
training.
people
I
make
always
it like,
got, I got
this
his
is like
back, and
this.
you know, and he was there. See, like he came respectful. If you come to my gym respectful, want to
Yeah.
train, I have no
Yeah.
problem training with you. If you come to the gym respectful, we do a different type of training. You know.
Yeah,
That's
it
how
was a real
come.
respectful role. I remember that. Like it was super friendly, actually. Like so, yeah. It's like
Health. I've also seen like in your past where sometimes you split with guys, but you also kind of come back together. Like Dave Camarillo in his book, Gorilla BJJ, our Gorilla Jiu Jitsu. I know at the time he wrote the book, there was a little beef between the two of you. You just mentioned him. Are you guys cool
I
again?
have no problem with Dave. Dave always was a chicken. Always afraid to do whatever the heck. Super capable. He was like a super, like flying arm bars, but he's always afraid. You know, always afraid to do. One of the reasons that I don't think he was more successful was because his fears, which I tried to break it out. You know, they made it like I had Dave Camarillo was like one of my main guys that I love it. It was like a guy that I really treat as a kid. But they are not your kids. The truth is, they are somebody else's kids. So like I tried to help him as much as I could. And that's why when he was gonna fight this guy, and I told him, hey bro, if you don't fight him, you're gonna fight me. You choose who is gonna get your ass whooped by. And he definitely chose to fight the other guy because of that. But Dave was definitely a tough guy. Definitely was soldier, but he was more fearful. He was more afraid to do stuff. So that's when I push him. As soon as I get out of his life, nothing happened anymore. He's a good coach, but not a good fighter anymore. Never fought again. Never did this. And which it was a pity, you know. And my beef with him was not really a beef because like I told him like he misunderstood me because I told him like I kicked one of my cousins out of here and he was like, oh, why did this? And I said, bro, don't get involved. There's nothing to do with you. You know, if you do this, it's gonna be hello, madam. It's gonna be over for you. He misunderstood. He got kind of pissed off with me. Then we broke it apart, and that was it. You know, but I have only good things to say about him. Like we were good friends. You know, he loved me. I know that. You know, like you know when a person likes you, definitely like me. But he felt like no, now it's time to get it on his own, which is okay for me too. You know, which is sometimes just kids gotta grow and gotta fly by himself, and so he did. But I have the most respect for him. For him, he's a good guy. You know, and later on we talk. You know, and like he went like to do BJ to fight against Renzo, which I felt was not nice to do. But man, life is life. You know, sometimes we're in the same side of the battlefield, sometimes in the opposite sides. But it is what it is.
You and BJ were scheduled to fight on Rumble on the Rock at one point.
Who?
You and BJ Penn.
No, we're never supposed to fight.
No?
We don't have like much to fight. No, it was him and Renzo.
It was only him and Renzo. Okay, the rumor was it was. So people talk about like the Penn brothers with the Moondales and how well they did, Regan and BJ. But weren't you a big part of their skill set, like developing their initial skill set?
My brother, I got BJ white belt, brand new, zero jiu-jitsu, zero. Came to my gym, and his dad walked him and his dad, and he's like two brothers. And his dad said, hey, this kid got future in doing this. I believe in him, and I'm going to live with you. Is that okay? Then I said to him, man, no worries. I'll take care of him. That was exactly what happened. He came to the gym, and his father came too. His mother came too. I met everybody. Then they left him there. I'm gonna get an apartment for him like right by here, and that's his life now. See? And then I took him in. So everything. Well, one time BJ came to the gym later on in life. See, when you're young, a lot of times you don't pay attention to the people around you, what's helping you. But as you grow older, you see who was there for you. And BJ came to my gym later in life after he was like a UFC champion. He was a UFC champ, and after he did everything, he came to my gym and said, on these mats where I learned to be a man. On these mats where help show me how to be a man. Because right there, bro, he never had a training like he had in my gym. You can ask him if you want to know, but that's the truth. That's why even nowadays, once in a while, he calls me and talks to me. You know, but even though we broken apart, we did this, I never asked nothing back. I never asked for a penny. I never asked for a hug. Hey, come here because you owe me this. Nobody owes me nothing. I did because I want to do it. I give without getting back, receiving back. The only thing that I got back was like, hey, man, those kids represent you. And that was it. That was all that that was all that I was looking for. Besides recognition. I never asked for money. I never asked, oh, I need favors. Man, I was the one giving the favors. I was the one providing. And that was it, man. But in this line of work that I do, you're going to see people coming and people going. Sometimes deception, it is what it is. Then you start learning to don't put so many expectation on people. People are people. You can only create expectations on yourself.
You know? Gumby, did you get a lot of mat time with the Penn brothers, Regan and BJ?
Yeah, they did a
JD.
bunch of them.
There's three of them there. Oh yeah, no,
Oh, JD as
they're
well.
some of my main training.
Like BJ, all the guys. We all trained together. We were like in the house. We were in, like, everyone was in there. BJ Penn, what's the name of the other?
It's Regan, BJ, and DJ,
There's total of 3 or 4, right?
Well, there's 4 of them. Jay stayed in Hawaii, so like you can see JD, BJ, and Reagan. You know, they're actually under their driver's license. Their names are actually all JD. Like it's JD, 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 and then Reagan. Yeah, because like you asked him, it's like, well, in case one of them dies, they got to carry on the name. But we had another, like, I remember being in the airport with those guys, and like this is right after 9/11, and they're all showing their IDs, and they all have the same name on there. And then like the security person's like, what the hell? It's like, you guys can't all be JD. These have to be fake. It's like, why would anybody do that? And they're trying to explain. And finally I go up to the security guard, you know, it's Hawaiian logic. And they're just like, and then let them through.
Ralph, so BJ Penn comes to the UFC and they say he won the Moondials. He's the first American ever to win a major Brazilian tournament. Did you have that expectation of BJ and Regan? Both of them.
Listen up. When BJ went to Brazil, a first time as a blue belt, he tapped Shaolin, he tapped all the guys as a blue belt. Is that right, Gumby?
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that he was holding his own down on the mats, like.
And that's as a blue belt, as a my academy coming blue belt. As a blue belt, he came and tapped Shaolin. As a blue belt, he came and whooped most of people's asses in Brazil. As a my fighter, as a my students. Later on, when everything was easy. We went there, got his black belt in I don't know how many months. They were like fucking killing everybody. That was it.
Okay, so right around this time, and Allan, I think you'd be a better judge of this, some of the rules started changing to where like the takedown, like it wasn't as valued as much as it was before. I've heard people call it the BJ Penn rule. Is there any truth to that?
No, I don't think there's truth to that. What do you think, Gumby?
The takedowns and stuff like that. The takedowns were always, you know, it was always 2 points if it was.
But then they kind of subtracted it, like the takedown.
There was.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I think you're on delay. I apologize, Gumby.
Oh no. Like not like the if anything back in the days with the rules, like the first tournaments we went to, like there were less rules back in the day, like for sure. Like, I don't remember there being like different submissions that you can do and stuff, where everything was legal. Like the way we trained was more like what you see as combat jujitsu that Eddie Bravo does. Like we had to learn how to deal with strikes and you know, open hand training and stuff like that, or somebody have boxing gloves. So I remember when I signed up for my first tournament, I didn't know what the jiu-jitsu rules were. I thought it was going to be something where we hit each other when I signed up for my first tournament. I'll be 100% honest. I was kind of relieved when I found out like no, it's just the grappling and the takedowns and stuff. But um, yeah, like the idea was it's like we weren't like, at least for us, we didn't care about like the point system or all that. I was just going to try to finish you. And I wasn't happy unless I got a submission. And that's literally all we cared about. It's like whatever rules you put in front of us, whatever the things are, submit the guy and you don't ever have to worry about it.
That was my rule. If you submit, like, if you really look at the guy can have like 100 points on you, but if you do one submission, overcome all those 100 points. So this is like my logic was like, hey, let's go for the submission. What is better? And I always tell the guys, hey, the girls like better when you finish them.
So, back in the day, the sports secretary of Brazil was named Zé Moraes.
Zé Moraes.
How influential was he with the development of jiu-jitsu?
Man, he was like he's a politician, right? He's in the like he's a work with the political in Brazil, and he was like very important to bring like to bring even more higher level. Like that's he was putting a lot of money in the competitions. Was bringing guys from the United States to fight in Brazil. That's why I brought Dave Camarillo to fight in Brazil in that event, which Dave did really well. And he was very influential. Still, not he doesn't was he's still influential in Brazil. He's still a guy which helps the jiu-jitsu a lot. He's a guy.
Unsung hero. Yeah, unsung hero. Yeah.
He's still a good guy. And definitely he was helping us, the jiu-jitsu family, to go to a better place.
What about Paquetá?
Paquetá?
Yeah.
Paquetá was the movie maker. It was like the guy that did all the videos from everywhere. Has the biggest collections of video from everybody. In Brazil, and especially back then, because he was the only one videotaping all the tournaments. Nowadays, we have all these like different companies or different internets, but back then it was just Paquetá. As one of the biggest collections in the world. That's one he has.
Lloyd Irvin, another one of your early students.
I like Lloyd. Lloyd was like crazy. I like him. I met Lloyd like it was like North Carolina. I think it was North Carolina or South Carolina. I don't remember exactly what it was. When I started putting the video instructional videos.
Yeah, you had him in your instructional. Yeah. Yeah,
he did well.
Talented guy. Yeah, no, for sure. Your fight with Mishima, Pride Bushido, October 5th, 2003.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was another one where you got tested.
Strong little shit. That was good.
Was it difficult fighting on the same card as family? You had Hyan on the undercard?
We like this shit. We like to fight like that. We like to be around each other, On that fight, man, me and Hyan, we fought so much. Like we like training so hard. And prior to the fight, we were like fucking killing each other. And like I remember one of the trainings that we did was like he's punching me super hard, almost opened my my eyebrows, and almost opened my eyebrow and say, "Hey, motherfucker, you open my eyebrow, I'm not gonna get the money. You're not gonna be able to fight." And at the same time, I kick him in his face. And then it was like it was brothers fighting. It was good. It's funny when I train with my brothers, it's worse than they train with my worst enemies.
I'd say like one of my heroes in Gumby. I mean, one of my heroes in life, Carlson. Carlson Gracie's just an incredible. I'm a Chicago guy. I've met him. I had the privilege of meeting him on more than one occasion. I mean, truly somebody that made a difference. You know, much like yourself, taking in people for free, helping out just for the sport.
Carlson a lot. Carlson was a good guy. You know, definitely was like a different type of person, and as kind of like me, he really liked his students, taking the students different level, you know, like really love, like take them as a real family, you know, and that's a good guy, for sure.
Gumby, looking back on it now, the significance of Health's team and the people that it came from it, while it was going on, did you kind of understand the historical significance of the time period you were training there?
No, I just did it because I loved it. You know, like I always thought jujitsu was going to be a big thing. Like I didn't know when it would be a big thing or how influential it would be. I always knew that mixed martial arts or UFC or Valley Tudo, as we call it back in those days, it was too cool not to. I mean, like I wanted to do it because I loved it. I wanted to share it with the world and kind of put that message out there. Um, so like yeah and no, like I kind of knew that it was going to be big, but I didn't know how big. I always tell people I didn't know how fast it would get big. You know, like aside from all the fighters that you keep talking about of being in the gym, some of the most influential people in jiu-jitsu came out of that gym. So you know, I had On the Mat and then Don Geddes from bjj.org. So you had three of the four most influential websites, or two out of the four most influential websites were training at House Gym. Sean Shelby, who's now the matchmaker for the UFC, started training at Half's Gym. You know, we were the thing in Mountain View before Google was a thing in Mountain View, literally.
That's
Yeah, so we were before that. So we had our fame or infamy. We put it out there, but the fact that it's, you know, it's hard to say. Like when you're 20, you're just doing it because you love it. You want to train. You want to prove yourself to the world. And um, I knew it was going to get this big. I didn't know how big. I just didn't know when. It's kind of hard to say that. Like, why did I train as hard as I did? Why did I go from like, you know, I had a job in the tech industry and now all I do is jiu-jitsu stuff. Why did I do that? It's like, you know, I didn't have to, but I had to,
a
if
smart
that
man.
makes sense.
Gumby was always a smart guy.
Well, the kind of crazy thing that I try to like impart on people is you've got a very small area of Brazil, like very small, in like the Rio, and so many people from one small area of the world become internationally famous. It's guys that you would just kind of see before UFC 1. All of you guys doing jiu-jitsu, like that really dedicated themselves, all become famous. It's pretty wild.
I remember, you know, how famous Half was. It's like we went down to Brazil together. So like I think after you moved up here, like I was with you on that first trip, and Half is so famous when we get down there that, you know, we get to customs and all that. They're like, yeah, just come on through. Like, we know who you are. So I walked in with them. Like, you know, that's how famous it was. I didn't even have to go through customs, which was cool until I had to come back and I'm showing my passport and I don't have any of the paperwork on it because I walked in with Half and they're like, how'd you get in here? I'm like, why isn't your passport stamped? So I almost couldn't get back out of Brazil because of that when I went down there.
That was fun.
Health, was it difficult to adjust? Like, I mean, you're a guy from Rio, and then all of a sudden, internationally, everybody knows who you are.
That was not easy, you know, because it's totally different environment, right? They're totally different type of people. But one thing that was lucky, because like as a foreigner to a new country, normally is the opposite than me. Normally, the guy is trying to get into connection, and it actually was the other way around. People were trying to connect with me due to the fact that martial arts that I do. So that was like the main thing. That was easier because people want something that I have. I know like if I would have come in a different situation, which having to work, having to do this, if people did not know me, would it be way harder. But since I got here and people knew the product that I have was important to them, they came more towards me. That was easy. I have no complaints. But I do understand a lot of people, they come to the United States and have a hard time, especially if you don't have jiu-jitsu. They definitely have. I don't believe I would stay.
So, your family obviously has got a world famous, just kind of competition with Sakuraba. Like Sakuraba and the Gracie family, there was a lot of interaction there.
Yes.
What about backstage? Was there any conflict with Sakuraba backstage?
Not at all. Not at all.
That's what always surprised me.
Where a lot of us met Sakuraba was at Metamoris when he had the rematch against Henzo. And I got to tell you, like, everybody was so excited to see Sakuraba over there. Like, the fans, the things, like, the fighters and all that. It's just like.
And we admire a good war. We admire a good battle.
A good fight, yeah.
If you throw me a good fight and you're honest, I'll fucking love you, bro. I don't care if you whip my ass or not. If it's honest, if it's there, hey, it is what it is. You're honorable. You are a soldier. You're fighting. No worries, bro. You're fighting. You're like, hey, that's what we came to do. If you beat me, fuck it, there's nothing I can do. I'm gonna try to fight you again. But
that's fun.
I respect you.
All right. You and Hyan, you guys look like you lean into fights. Obviously, you're not afraid of fighting. I always would ask that. Why was there no backstage interactions that ever made it public with Sakuraba?
There was some. No Sakuraba, but there was some. Because Sakuraba was respectful. Sakuraba is a fucking Japanese. And they're good Japanese. Like those the one they talk shit. No, he was good. See, if you're respectful, you're honorable. Man, it would be an honor to fight you. No,
yes.
I don't have to respect you. We have principles. I'm really like a guy who can put a fight. If the guy's a cool guy, even better. Fuck. Man, if the guy is respectful, is honorable, I'll be honorable with him too. We appreciate honor. We appreciate courage. If you see someone with courage, man, that guy should be on my team. Unfortunately, he's on the other side. But it is what it is.
I tell you, Alf, we've had you for an hour. I know you're at a family party.
That's true.
Because of your family, I have gotten divorced. Because of your family, I have been in lawsuits.
That was the best thing happened to you.
Brother, I have dedicated so much of my life to the sport of mixed martial arts over your family, and I would never trade it for anything. I cannot explain to you just the depth and how much you and the people that you're related to have affected me personally. I want to say thank you, bro.
And the truth is, that's why we do it. See, the same way we touch your heart, we touch thousands of people's heart. And one thing that I think we're in a constant evolution. And for me, one of my evolutions that I believe is try to be a better person every day. By being a better person, I can be a better example. And if I be a better example for anybody, that definitely changed my life to a better. So that's the goal. My goals in life, especially nowadays, because we're getting older, getting wiser. Man, if I can touch your heart with a word, if I can do something that make you better, that fulfills me. that makes me proud. When you come in, like you come and say to me, how this happened because of your family, because I have this guy in Brazil, this older gentleman. He invited us to a barbecue in his house, and I met him once, maybe for a split second, for a moment. Then he invited us to his house and threw a barbecue for us. And the way that he talks about us, oh, your family, you guys are like lords, you guys are so polite, you guys are this, you guys are that, blah, blah. And I only met him once, but he was a friends with my uncles, and we see how do we transform his life with jiu-jitsu, with our friendship, and how positive was this to him. And that shows our responsibility, how we are responsible to touch people's lives, to make them look how he treat me. He treat me better than he treat anybody. And this was because my uncle, he met my uncles, he met my father, and and we got into his life and make him a better person. And he's making me a better person by taking me to the person that I am. So the goal is to become friends, be role model for people to be better. If we can do this, man, that's the goal in life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Time.
Allan, please stick around. Health, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
You got it, my brother.
Be good.
It's always awesome to have. Take care, Gumby.
All right, see you soon, right? We'll get together this week,
brother.
next week, while you're in town. All right.
Allan. Dude. That just blew my fucking mind, dude. We've been trying to track this down for about, I think I timed it. I think it's about 10 months. We've kind of dangled fishing for health for about 10 months now. We finally got him. He
doesn't do many interviews either. There's not a lot of press on him that he does. And it's not that he's mysterious. Once you talk to him, he's the last thing from mysterious. He's the most straightforward person I can think of. But yeah, tracking them down on in some ways, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, he was at Carnival last week, and it was always, on my end, I've had a couple guys like this where sometimes it takes years to get them, but just every once in a while, you just kind of touch base. How are things going? Health always returned my phone call. He always returned my phone call. With yourself, you had mentioned just the big consorption of just influence that you guys had out of that gym. Not everything was easy for you guys, though. Because I know there was splits from the gym, people leaving, even Bobby Southworth was a guy that had left. Did you kind of see people coming that were there with other motives? Were they kind of easy to spot?
No, because you weren't going to last that long. You weren't going to make it through the door. You weren't going to make it through that litmus test because we were going to, quite frankly, we're going to train hard. And there was plenty of people that came in, saw what we were about, or and we didn't do that because out of maliciousness. I mean, we trained harder with each other, and that's one of the things. It's you came in and nowadays we kind of take it easy on you. And this is a school in general. It's I'm not going to try to chase you out the door right away. If you try to run a business like you did back in the 90s, how the jiu-jitsu gym was or house gym was, it's he wouldn't have anybody nowadays. Everybody run out, there's jiu-jitsu studios everywhere. But nowadays it's or back in those days, where else were you going to go? There was no kind of, if you didn't want to train, if you didn't want to train with us, where were you going to go? So a lot of people, quite frankly, for better, or for worse, really, maybe 1 out of 20 people were going to make it through their first month.
Oh
and that's not really that much. There was a high attrition rate back in those days. It was just the way we were. It was tough. So, if you made it through that point, that you made it, that you made it through the couple of months, and again, it wasn't you were kind of accepted. You were in that kind of fold. We were going to be really tight with you. So to say that somebody came in and made it through that essential gauntlet and then wasn't gonna, like, after the first couple initial months, and we still had suspicions, like, no, like, you're with us, we were tight with you, we bonded in a way that you couldn't really describe. And if something was going to happen, you weren't going to see it coming because you already went through all that kind of flame and fire just to get to that point.
Did you ever work out? I mean, I'm sure you did. Sandro Santiago.
Patata. Yeah.
I've heard from several people that he was really special as well, both as an instructor and a competitor.
That's Gordo's first black belt.
Yeah.
So he can honestly say that, and Gordo's like a black belt's black belt. Gordo's like one of the most respected jiu-jitsu instructors in the world. Yeah, for Batata to say that he's the first and out of all the guys he's produced is something special too. And Batata's like, Batata means potato. So he's like, he fought at the light featherweight category. He's a $140. He's a little bit heavier right now, given time and stuff like that. He doesn't look like somebody that'd be as fantastic as he was, but he was brought in to teach at the Mountain View Academy. So I learned a lot from him. I owe him a lot, even though he's a little bit younger than I am, but he had gone through some stuff. He'd gone through this stuff in Brazil. We actually met in Brazil. Like, I think we were blue belts at the time, or maybe he was a purple belt at the time when I first met him. So yeah, we bonded really well. I still talk to him all the time. Great dude.
Yeah, it's man, it's pretty incredible. Just the reach, and it's just from being there and not quitting, just keep going back day after day. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and like there's a bond, like even like when people would come in and out of Half's orbits and stuff like that. The one thing about Half is there's no mincing of words with the guy. Like he'll tell you exactly how he feels or exactly what he thinks. He's not politically correct in any sense of the imagination. He's that kind of he's as direct as it comes. And like one of the things I've learned is like, and really appreciate that there's no there's no guile about the guy at all. They don't make people like that. So, but if you're not ready for what he wants to say, or if you want to kind of second guess it, like you never have to second guess, just go ask him. But if you're afraid of what the answer is, sometimes people wouldn't approach, or like, he was so direct or so kind of like, this is what it is. And that kind of belief that sometimes people wouldn't approach him on things because they didn't know how to deal with the answer or didn't want to know what the answer was from him.
I think there's also an intimidation factor with him as well.
Yeah. Like anybody that said otherwise is lying about that for sure. It's that directness. It's like, if he told you that the sun wasn't going to come up tomorrow, like he meant it. Like, there was one line that he gave. It's like, like why, like if you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else believe in you? Like, that's the biggest thing that he always had. And he definitely believed in himself and whatever he was going to say and do. And yeah, very, very headstrong in that sense.
I can tell you from somebody sitting on the couch when they talk about like the Gracie family in regards to people that you should be very careful of. Health is at the top of that list. And when people would mention to me, oh, Health's got a school over here or over there, I'd be thinking to myself, man, you walk through those doors with the intent of fighting, or you probably shouldn't go elsewhere. Am I off on it? Was there instructional classes there as well for like kids and moms and stuff?
Yeah, it was for everybody, but
early.
Yeah, but well, the kids, you got to remember there really weren't kids programs in jiu-jitsu in general. Like, you did, but they're always kind of, secondary. Like, most kids programs back in the 90s where it's like, I'll have a guy that's up and coming that needs to make a living, or like, because, a lot of people, like, if you're going to train full time, it's like, well, how are you going to do this? So like, well, you can run the kids classes and I'll let you And that's not just at House Gym. That's a lot of gyms that had that. It's like I'll kind of give you the kids gyms versus or the kids program because they were just so busy running the adults. Nowadays, it's if people say it's gone the way of the traditional martial arts like karate or taekwondo, schools have realized that the money is actually in the kids programs. Like you want to run that, but that
Kids and
wasn't a
moms.
thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were in there and you were learning how to fight. And even like, even somebody like Half, who's obviously kind of grown up doing it, like as a Gracie, they've been doing it their whole life. You ask any of the Gracies, they'll tell you it's like, jiu-jitsu was never pushed on them, and they didn't take it that seriously until later on. They realized, hey, all these things we're doing, all these games and stuff like that. They didn't feel the pressure. And this is one thing that I've talked to numerous family members that they never felt the pressure until later on. Like, it wasn't put on right away that this is who you are, this is what we do. Like the ones that fought by choice. Like, it wasn't put on them. At least the ones I've talked to. There's like 80 Gracie family members, so like,
Oh yeah.
even I haven't met and talked to all of them, but but Half is always clear on that.
It's but it's genetics. They like to fight. Yeah, I mean, if you really look at like gangster families, the Gracie families it's internationally speaking probably the most gangster family in the world, in my opinion.
So Half will probably tell you the same thing. If that side of that, if Half and his brothers are tough, like I've actually never met his father Hobson.
Okay.
That's one of the regrets. If they were tough, I think it came from their mom's side. Like, I see a lot of their mom and her toughness in them too. And I think they might say the same thing.
I can see that.
And the funny thing is, it's like for all the stories you might hear out of that side of the family, if you asked who the most dangerous fighter was, like out of like the kids, they'll point to Flavia, the sister, the mother of Kira Gracie. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, no, she was the one that was actually the most scary in a street fight out of all of them, from what I understand.
Yeah, I was at Kira's 2007 run in ADCC. It was truly like, I mean, it's a record that might not ever be broken, in terms of the youngest ADCC winner ever.
I think nowadays that they're starting off younger and stuff like that. Kira was definitely something special. But I think every record will fall in this right now. Like we're still in our infancy at this point, I think.
Yeah.
That's taking nothing away from what I think of Kira and what she did, though.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, it's still standing, I mean,
Yeah.
Wow. Gumby, man, I know this was like a last minute thing. I texted you yesterday. Hey, man, be prepared, be prepared. I mean, I greatly appreciate it, man. I know we've never met. When Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship comes back around your area, I'd love to have you out there as a guest.
I'd love to go. I'd love to go. That would be awesome. Like we can hook up and hang out in person.
Absolutely. Gumby, thank you so much, man. I'm going to probably about 2 weeks, I'll have this out. Okay?
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Excited.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.